We can get care to our players at the earliest possible opportunity.
Oh, is that so, commish?
I'm going to continue to stand with the people that are being oppressed.
You didn't care about this guy.
We believe everyone should stand for the national anthem.
And rode the Trump wave in despising black athletes speaking out. After all, this is a league who fails in mirroring its predominantly black workforce with representation at the very top at the ownership level.
We, the National Football League, believe Black Lives Matter.
See, Raj, when you say this...
We're all in the Super Bowl together, so that says a lot about what we've accomplished together.
Meanwhile, your corporations' hiring practices continue to fail every offseason.
Well, there's nothing more important than the player health and safety.
But again, that's just not true.
We respect our players.
Take it from Megatron himself, Calvin Johnson. So a man who is literally paid to protect the league is doing his job. Thus, it's our job to expose his deceit. The latest from the NFL, already creating problems with race, has yet another controversy unfolding.
A lawsuit claiming the NFL uses race as a factor in determining which former players are compensated for suffering head injuries.
The lawsuit is brought on by Kevin Henry and Najee Davenport, two former athletes who are black that played in the NFL. They accused the Shield of explicitly and deliberately discriminating against black players, filing dementia-related claims.
I've had 10 concussions or more. I've had at least 17 surgeries. 17. And I'm still getting them.
The NFL is being credibly accused of race norming, the practice of converting individual test scores to percentile or standard scores within one's racial group. Catherine Pawson, who holds a PhD and has studied cognitive changes associated with Parkinson's along with various neurological disorders, said the denial of compensation to black players whose cognitive scores had been adjusted to correct for race adds fuel to the nation's long history of structural racism and discrimination practices.
If a player goes to see a neuropsychologist, if that's a black player, the neuropsychologist, according to the NFL, has the option of using race as sort of a factor in deciding it. Essentially saying that before they even started playing football, they had a lower cognitive level than white players. And so, in a way, they have a greater degree that they have to prove to show that they're entitled to compensation.
With that being said, Henry alleges that the NFL denied him compensation for what an independent neurologist declared to be a cognitive decline consistent with mild dementia. Yet when he took his claim to the NFL, it was denied because the league said the doctor used inappropriate norms.
Henry went in for another evaluation with a neuropsychologist. Now this clinician used an NFL-recommended formula that took into account age, gender, education, and race, and concluded that Henry did not qualify for compensation.
The Human Genome Project has taught us that human beings are 99.9% similar at the DNA level, Pawson said, and the remaining 0.1% does not vary according to socio-politically defined race categories such as black or white.
How did you react when you learned that there was a different standard being used for black players to get benefits as compared to white players?
I felt so betrayed, and I still feel that way. Two different systems? How can that be okay? Why should that be okay?
Here's the thing. The Civil Rights Act of 1991 made approaches to adjusting test scores based on race illegal, so Henry's question is a good one.
The effect of using this race norm for the NFL is that it drastically limits the amount of damages they're going to have to pay out.
The NFL is reported to have denied approximately 3/4 of the 2,000 claims for dementia submitted by all former players.
It's almost the classic definition of racial discrimination, using race as a basis of denying benefits to a disadvantaged or subordinated group because of race.
Per the lawsuit, if a black former player and a white former player receive the exact same raw scores on a battery of tests designed to measure their current cognitive functioning, the black player is presumed to have suffered less impairment, and he is therefore less likely to qualify for compensation.
Explosive emails exclusively obtained by ABC News appear to show multiple clinicians agreeing with that assessment. Several neuropsychologists who work with the NFL privately discussing the lawsuit, saying they feel that factoring for race was all but required under the program. One saying if they didn't use the racial norms, there would be multiple inquiries levied at them.
Poston recommends a different approach. Instead of using race norms, which typically also adjust for age, education, and gender, neuropsychologists should develop new approaches that account for social detriments of brain health like language, literacy, occupation, economic, and financial status. In September, a group of lawmakers demanded answers from the NFL. In a statement, the league told ABC News that the lawsuit is entirely misguided. If you'd like to hear more thought-provoking content like TYT Sports on Facebook and to help in my journey to keep media independent, go to tyt.com/Rick.